What's the story, Morning Glory? What is up, Buttercup? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 10, Love is Up in the Air. So let's get started with Nicole and Chris. So Nicole and Chris have conversations about love and saying I love you and falling in love. And they're not ready to say that yet. And they're not ready to say I love you yet. Chris says that he doesn't want to be pressured or forced into saying it. He wants to wait until it is the right time. He said that in the past he's made the mistake of saying it before for saying it too soon, and it backfired on him. So he wants to take his time, and he wants to make sure that the time is right before he says I love you. But he says that he does feel the pressure from Nicole that she wants him to say it first. Nicole, I feel like she's already there. She's already ready to say I love you, because Nicole is like, she's made up her mind. This is the man that she wants. There's no doubt. She enjoys her time with Chris. She wants to be with Chris. She likes everything about Chris. The only thing is Chris emotionally there to where she's at now? Chris says that he definitely sees potential of them falling in love, and that the attraction between them is definitely getting deeper. They have a conversation about body image and appearance. He says that he himself has got things to work on himself, with his body and how his body looks. He's still working on some things. And he says, and I want to look good for you. And she says, well, everybody has something to work on, but I don't want you to feel any kind of pressure from me. If you feel like you need to improve yourself physically, I want you to do it because that's what you want to do, not because I'm expecting this of you, or I'm not pleased with how you look, because I am. She says, the way you are, to me, it's perfect, and I'm attracted to you, and I have no issues with how you look. And so he then says that when they asked him, I guess in the very beginning, when they were in Jamaica, he was asked the question, what did you think of her physically? And he said, I thought she had, really pretty eyes, a beautiful smile. She is a little bit thicker than what I'm used to, but in a good way. So when he said that to her, she didn't like it. And she said that it's not good that he said that. And he says, well, to me, thicker means athletic. And then he says, but you even called yourself that. You even said that you yourself have said that you see yourself as a little bit thicker. And she's like, well, it's one thing for me to say it. I can say that, but you cannot say that. And when you're talking about me to other people, if you're describing me, you can tell them that I'm gorgeous, I'm beautiful, I'm this, I'm that, but don't ever use the word thick. So she didn't like it. She thought it came off as negative. He tried to clean it up as much as he could. He knew that he had to tell her, because she was definitely going to be seeing it on television at some point, or he wasn't sure if she was going to see it or not. So he wanted to err on the side of caution and tell her, this is what you might see. And this is what I said. And, she says it was a little bit jarring to hear her husband say that, and that it can be perceived as negative. So on the after party, they brought that up. Now, Nicole was not at the after party. It was just Jasmine, Kirsten, and Gina. But they did play that clip between Nicole and Chris, and all of the women were of the consensus that Chris handled it well, because he sat down, had a conversation with her, and it didn't come from a place of bad intent, and it was just a very mature adult conversation, him letting her know, and that it was good that she heard it from him first, instead of her seeing it for the first time on television, or reading about it, or hearing about it online. So everybody gave him a thumbs up of how he handled that situation, and Gina agreed as well. And she wanted to kind of defend her man, because she said, after Clint realized how it made me feel, he understood, and, he apologized, and he felt bad about how it made me feel, with what he said. So with Nicole and Chris, it seems like everything is going well, I guess. I just feel like there's more to Chris than what we're seeing. I don't know why I get that feeling. I just feel like that there's just something else about him that we don't know yet. But so far, Nicole and Chris are doing just fine. Moving on to Jasmine and Eris. And so Eris has COVID, and Jasmine is doing the best she can to take care of him. She also has to hold down her jobs, and she also has to take care of him and take care of her dog. So she's doing it all by herself. And Eris has the audacity to form his lips and say that out of 10, he gives her a 7 as far as her caretaking skills. First of all, Eris, why must everything be on a scale of 1 to 10? Why do you always have to rate everything? If you're that obsessed about rating, why don't you go ask Jasmine, hey, can you give me the hookup on being a beauty contestant judge? Because you love scoring things and rating things. Numerology is just, your cup of tea. So he gives her a 7 out of 10. And I'm like, first of all, why are you rating her? Second of all, why 7 out of 10? She's doing the best she can. Anyways, whatever. So they have to do their exercise or love exercise because the expert said, Dr. Pepper says, hey, when it seems like the couples are struggling with getting closer and bonding, we throw out these exercises for them to try to get to know each other better. So their exercise, I think, was talking about falling in love or something. Jasmine says she's been in love 3 times and, it's hard. It's not easy. And Eris talks about how he's never been in love, but he had a situation where I guess he had very strong feelings for the girl, but it didn't work out and he was devastated. And he spent the next 10 years of his life avoiding falling in love. So then later on, they play the game Never Have I Ever. And this kind of made me see that Eris wants a freak. Okay. He wants a freak. He wants somebody whose freak level is as high as his, and Jasmine is just not it. So the questions that he asks is, have you ever cheated? She said no. Have you ever kissed somebody of the same gender? She said no. Have you ever had a one-night stand? She said no. Have you ever had a threesome? She said no. And so then I think she asked him, if he had a threesome, and he was like, no, I don't do threesomes. I'm elevated. I do orgies. And so she was like, okay, now. So they're just not compatible. And then he talked about how, her life is boring and she should have experienced all of these things before she got into her 30s. And on the after party, she said that, she was thinking that this game was going to somehow make them closer, learn more about each other, be emotionally intimate, but it was like it went left. And he's just I can't say the things that I really want to say when I talk about Eris. Eris is a freak and he needs somebody who's on that level and who can do those kind of things. And there are a lot of couples that are like that. They like to do the out of the box kind of stuff. And he needs someone who can experience that type of lifestyle with him, because I still think that he has a lot of freak left in him. And this is why I guess cousin Fallina kept on telling him, this is just not for you. This whole situation is not for you. You are not ready for this. And I'm kind of realizing maybe cousin Fallina was right. Maybe him being on this show and trying to find a wife in this process is just not right. Maybe he didn't even tell the experts exactly what he was looking for, because you would think that he would see something wholesome and very sweet about her. But I think every time he looks at her, he just sees, Susie Homemaker, and it's a big turnoff for him. He wants somebody who's just got that edge to them, and she just doesn't. And, no, but I want to know, Jasmine, girl, you can tell us, okay? You can tell us, are you just the tiniest bit curious on what it might be like with Eris if you entered his world? So I don't know. Maybe he can elevate her to his freak level and she might like it, or because I don't think that she's going to be able to calm him down. I don't think he can come down to her level. Maybe she should, I don't know, give it a try or something. I don't know. But hey, if she's Susie Homemaker and she's very vanilla about that, it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. Yeah. It's not going to work. Moving on to Gina and Clint. So Clint is FaceTiming not Gina and Clint. We're not there yet. Hold up. Moving on to Kirsten and Shaquille. Okay, Kirsten and Shaquille. Okay, so they have their exercise, and the question is, have you ever been in love before? Both of them have said that yes, both of them have been in love before. Kirsten opened up just a tiny little bit more when the question was asked, what will it take to fall in love? And she says for her, it's going to take quality time. She wants to spend more quality time with him. Where the rate that he's going right now, she says that he's gone a lot. And he has long work hours, and she needs him home more. And Shaquille, he says that for him to make her happy, he has to be happy. And for him to be happy, he needs to spend time at the gym. He needs to hang out with his friends and his family. And then that's the kind of stuff that makes him happy. Then he can be a happy husband for her and give her what she needs. I think that's what he was trying to say. So Shaquille's mentees come over, the young man that he's mentoring at the college, I guess. They come over to visit them, and one of them asked, the question was, what has been like the biggest adjustment that you had to make after you got married? And Shaq says that he had to realize he's not living this life alone. He has a partner, and he has to think of her. It's not just about him anymore. And so he talks about how he was given this out of state job offer of a job, excuse me, of a job that he really wanted, but he declined it because he wanted to stay in Nashville with Kirsten. So that was a huge sacrifice for him because this was a lucrative offer, and he wanted the job, and he declined it because he's a married man and he has to stay with his wife. And Kirsten, this was the first time that she ever heard of this because he never talked about it with her. He did not consult her about it at all, which I feel like he really should have, because who knows, she might have surprised him and she might have been like, you know what, yes, let's move to this other state for you to get this job, and we'll make it work somehow, some way we'll make it work. He really should have consulted with her first. So on the after party, she talks about how it did upset her that he didn't talk about it with her, because he's like, she said, we're husband and wife, and he should have discussed it with me. This was a major decision, and he should have discussed it with me. So he thought that he was doing something really great by declining the offer, not even talking to her about it, but letting her know, I declined it because I wanted to decline it, and not because you pressured me into declining it, or that I felt obligated to you to decline it. I think was his point of not discussing it with her. Like, it was his own voluntary decision to not take the offer so that she would not have that feeling of resentment or feeling of guilt, if she told him that she didn't want to leave Nashville. So I can kind of see it both ways, but in all actuality, he really should have discussed it with her first. So then, okay, I don't care about the plant shopping. They found a plant that they both liked, good for them. So then he comes home from work one day, and she's got the whole entire apartment looking like a little mini spa. So she's got the white robes, and she's got the thing where you put your feet and the water's, bubbling. She's going to give him a massage and a facial, just do the whole entire spa treatment. And she actually says that she likes catering to Shaq. And I thought that was really, really sweet. So then they're sitting down, and then she asks him, tell me something about yourself that I don't know. And so he proceeds to tell her about how he was growing up. He was extremely insecure with himself because he wasn't the typical boy's boy, running around in the dirt, playing sports, very macho, very athletic. That just wasn't him. And so he had to find the things that interested him, but he was worried, I guess, about what it would look like to everybody else, because he wasn't doing the typical boy stuff. So he had to finally find a way to be comfortable with that. He was also very insecure with the scar that was left from his accident. So he struggled with a lot of insecurities that he had to try to overcome to be more confident in himself. So then he asks her the same question, tell me something about yourself that I don't know. And then she says, oh, there's a lot about me that you don't know. And he's like, okay, I'm all ears. Start whenever you're ready. And then she changes it, and she's like, there's really nothing. There's nothing about me that, that you really don't. And he was like, you just said there was a lot about you that I didn't know. Now you're saying there's nothing about you that I don't know. And so she just proceeded to not say anything at all. And he was like, I don't understand, like, why do you put these walls up? And your walls are not just regular walls. Your walls are high, and I'm it's difficult for me to try to get over them because you're just so closed off. He's trying to connect with her and she just can't do it. Now, on the after party, when they brought that up, she got really emotional and she said that she feels this pressure to be a good example to her siblings, to be a good example to the young women in her community, et cetera, et cetera. So she has this pressure to present herself a certain way. And it's like, if there's flaws about you, if you tell people about things about you that might not be so positive, then it's like you're letting them down. And then Keisha Napoleon was trying to tell her everybody has flaws. Everybody has skeletons in their closet. Everybody has things about themselves that they can work on. You don't have to walk around with that much pressure on you, that burden on your shoulders like that. And so she cried and Kirsten was crying and Jasmine was crying and it was crazy. So yeah, I guess that's the reason why she really doesn't share a lot. It's because she just feels this need to present herself in a certain way so that she doesn't let people down, doesn't disappoint people. And I'm just like, wow, Kirsten, you gotta let that go, honey. You gotta let that go. You'll be surprised on how much love and support you get when people see who you really are. Moving on from there, now let's get into Gina and Clint. So, Gina and Clint, they had a great episode. I don't have really anything critical to say about them. They had a really good episode. Clint was talking to his mom, telling his mom that Gina works a lot and it's kind of like, interfering with our relationship because we don't have a lot of quality time together. The mother says, when you start your own business, this is just how it is. You're going to be married to your business for the first 3, 4, or 5 years because you're trying to get this business off the ground. So you're going to baby that business like nothing else. And that's just how it is. And so Clint says he understood, but they're on a time crunch. It's not like in a regular situation, we have all the time in the world to build a relationship. They are on a time crunch. So he's going to need her to kind of sacrifice a little bit more of her business to help this relationship grow. He goes to see her hair salon. He's really impressed by it. He met some of the stylists that work there. And Clint just has this easy air about him. Like he walks into this situation where he didn't know anybody and he's joking around and he doesn't mind being the center of attention. He doesn't mind everybody staring at him because they're all checking him out, to see like, who is this guy that our friend married or that our boss married. And he had no problem. He answered all of their questions. He looks everybody straight in the eye and he just has this ease about him. After that, they do their little exercise and the question was, what brings you joy? And he said he is part of the 3F club and there's 3 things that bring him joy that start with the letter F: family, friends, and then he had her guess what the third F was. I really thought, because my mind was in the gutter, I really thought that third F was something else completely because I was all up in the gutter. But the third F, and she guessed it right, it was food. So then they talk about a difficult thing that they had to overcome. She talks about coming from a broken home and how she had to rise above that. And then he talked about the loss of a pregnancy. His ex-girlfriend got pregnant and then she ended up having a miscarriage and that really devastated him because he really wanted to be a father. He was excited about having a kid. And this shows a very sensitive, vulnerable side to Clint because it's easy to think that Clint is just all about Clint because he loves to talk. He loves to hear himself talk. He loves to be the center of attention. He's got this addiction to adventure and traveling. You would think that this guy does not want to have children because children are just going to hold him down or hold him back. But no, he says he was excited about being a dad. And he says, even if me and her never worked out, I was going to take care of the child financially 100%. I really wanted to have a kid. And so that really devastated him. After that, they go on his sailboat. They had a great time on his sailboat. She got to see a little piece of his world and she understood why he loves being on the water. It was so calm and so peaceful and so relaxing. She herself had a really good time on the boat. Then they go to a bull riding competition. They had a great time there as well. They had a lot of fun there. So everything went well with them. Everything went well. They had a good episode, but there is no spark between Gina and Clint. Absolutely no spark, no chemistry, no attraction, no nothing. And Gina talked about that in the after party. I think she did mention that because they asked her, when was the last time that y'all had kissed up until that point? And she was like, in Jamaica. So they came back to Nashville, no physicality, no nothing. And it just seems, so it seems like it's only Nicole and Chris that have taken a trip down to, you know, where. And Kirsten and Shaquille kind of sort of working on it. Kirsten talked about also how she enjoyed, did I talk about that? How she really enjoyed catering to him? Yeah, I think I did talk about that, which is, to me, that was amazing because, you know, for a long time, Kirsten kind of gave me vibes that she just really wasn't attracted to him, but he's growing on her. He really is growing on her. Anyways, that's my little review. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.